Right, so people wanted more behind the scenes stuff of basically repairing an 81-year-old wooden boat, didn't they? So what I need to do is machine some wood today, so let's get it machined. Okay, so we need to make some packers that go on top of the beam shelf between the web frames, don't we? Right, I've got a load of material, so let's go and select some. So the best material I can find is these. We need it at 51 by 150, that's like 53 by 175. So I think we'll start by planing it down to 51 and then we can then cut it down. I might be able to get some frames out of this as well, so let's do that first. Okay, so they've planed up very beautifully. So at the moment it's far too wide, so I'm going to cut a frame's width off it, because we know that this depth here is the frame width now. So if we now cut 39 off this way, or we'll go a bit bigger, then we'll plane it. And then that'll be good for the packers, and then we'll get a frame out of it as well. That means we can be nice and efficient with the material. I hate wasting good material. So we now need to plane them down to 39 and they're currently sitting at 43. Right, so we've now got 2 packers and 2 frames ready to go to the boat. While I've got the thicknesser set up, I'm going to send our good old Sarinda nameplate through. See how she looks. Well, that is looking a lot better, isn't it? So I'm not going to go into the full restoration of these, of our nameplates just yet. I just wanted to send it through. You know what it's like. Right, let's have a look at what else we need to do. So we've been struggling to find copper nails, haven't we? We reached out to you guys. We can find this size, which is 150mm by about 5mm. Can't remember what the American gauge is, but what we need is the 200mm, and these are 6mm, so they're actually square. So to manufacture a square, I couldn't figure out a way to clamp it. I was thinking about making like it's basically a quarter in it, so you can make it like a clamp and then we can hit it or press it or something like that. But then one of our patrons suggested that we watch Leo from Samson Boat Co. when he built Tally Ho. he used round copper, and I thought round is a lot easier to work with. It's a lot easier to clamp. So we might be able to make some nails. So that's what I'm going to try and do, is try and at least put some heads on these bars anyway. Then we can cut them down to length and put a point on them. But we need to try and replicate this nail head. Not sure how precise it has to be. At the end of the day, a nail's there to be whacked in and head, so the wood can't come off the head, isn't it, basically? So let's give it a go. Let's start pounding on some of this round copper, and so we go on. So we basically got a 3-jaw chuck off a lathe, and I'm thinking that we might be able to pull it in. I've got a hole on the bench there. Pull it in, clamp it up. I don't quite know how much excess we need, but so that's 12mm there, sticking out. So if this works, I'll make like a proper sort of base for this, a bit heavier, so we can hit it, but let's just see. So we could always heat the end of it as well, but bench is bouncing in it. I just slipped straight through. Right, so mount it in the vise. Bit tighter, bit more clamp. Let's see if we can knock this without pushing it through. No, is the answer. So maybe we'll try a bit of heat on it. Nope. The chuck just seems to doesn't seem to grip it very well. Let's try the chuck actually in the lathe. What's the chance? It slipped about 5mm and then it started to mushroom slightly. Okay, so it started to mushroom ever so slightly, but it slipped down about 5mm before it started that. So now to plan C. What I'm going to do is put a stop at the end of it so the back side of it can't move. I know you could technically shorten the whole thing or bend it or something, but let's give it a go. So for a very quick test, I put some chunks of steel on the inside of the vise, and that gives me my right length. Then if that works, then we can make something solid on the back of it, or even like a tube that the nail goes down, but no point making all that if it's not going to work, is there? Okay, so just as we predicted, it's just bent the bar on it. Right, so here's the failure so far. This one is slight mushroom, but then it bent the actual piece. This one is with the heat. Probably couldn't get enough heat into it, to be honest with you, with that pesky little blowtorch. Right, I've got an idea. I found this threaded piece of bar. It's got an M6 thread in it, so it's 6mm internal. So I think if I machine a collar onto, or machine some of this away here, leave a collar so it can't slip through the chuck, and then we then cut it in half and then put it in the chuck, then the threads will then bite into the copper, allowing us to hit it. Right, so we made this little thing now with the thread inside. So what we need to do now is cut it in half. Bit heavy that. Oh, we've got two nice pieces now. Don't know if it's going to work, but I enjoy doing this sort of messing about, so I thought I'd bring you guys along. So this now is basically going to wrap around the copper bar, and when we clamp it, it should dig in with all the threads on the inside. I know it's going to leave a few marks on the nail, but I don't think that really matters. We had a machine like a little sort of little groove in the top as well, so that might actually form the head better. There it goes. Right, so I don't think it works. It just took copper off it and left it in the threads. So now I'm going to try it just in the vise without the chuck. So a bit of slight success. It's not quite perfect, but we're definitely making strides in the right direction. Yes! Done it! Right, so this one's an original. And they're all the ones we've made. This one's really skinny, this one can go back through. So there you go. You can put a head on the nail. I was just thinking as I was doing that, do we need to... Is it anneal them? So you anneal them to make them softer? I don't think we do, but I don't know how we're going to get on, because that takes quite a lot of pounding that. I'm not too sure what state the other ones are at. I don't know enough about copper, to be honest with you. All we've done is used it. I don't actually know the actual makeup, but do we need to heat them up and then quench them, or do we need to just heat them and then they'll be softer, but then I suppose they won't be as strong, will they? Anyway, I'll figure all that out after, but what we need to do now is try and put a point on these, don't we? Right, so we now need to turn this blunt end into a pointy end. So we're going to put it in the lathe. Switch on. Alright, there you go. Some nice copper nails now. Perfectly usable. Right, so I'm quite pleased with the work we've done with these nails. Sort of just a nail now, isn't it? And these will actually knock in a lot easier because these are 6.3 because they're like 1/4 inch or something. We can drill out to 6, then the nail should technically go in a lot better because the square nails, you have to drill quite an undersized hole and it takes some driving in, trust me, like on a bend load. So hopefully we won't bend these as much. So the next thing is, well, these cost to buy the copper is about £4.40 for that. Still quite a lot of money in it. But compared to the £15 per nail they want, so we need about 80, at least 80 nails. God knows what that equates to, but it's quite a lot of money. So if we can make our own, that's good. So if we have to buy the copper, we have to buy the copper. But here's only a small selection of the copper that has basically come out of Sarinda. And it's been through the fire to burn the majority of the wood off it. And I also own a furnace. In the past, I've melted our copper down and made little ingots and stuff. I thought it'd be quite cool. It's fun to play with. So my question to you guys: how do I make copper rod? I've done some. I've tried to do some research, done some Google. I can't properly find out how you make it into a bar. So I can melt it down. I'm guessing it goes through some sort of rollers, but surely you need like a uniform shape for it to go through the rollers. I don't know. I'm sure someone on there will know how it's done. So if you could send us a link or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Right, that's enough of me messing about. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons, all of our Ko-fi supporters, our YouTube members, everybody who supports us. Just for watching. Thank you so much. Don't forget, if you like what we do, press like and subscribe and all that sort of jazz. So see you next time.